Hey everyone, I'm Ryan from Ratings.com, and today we'll be testing the Hisense H9F. It is a new 2019 LED TV from Hisense and is currently their highest end model available in the US. It is also by far and away the most requested TV review from you guys, so let's check it out. The H9F is an LCD TV with a full array local dimming backlight and quantum dot technology. It certainly boasts the specs to be an impressive TV, and in this video we'll see how it all comes together. We'll start by looking at the design and then move on to the picture quality. We'll see how the TV handles motion, how it performs for gamers, we'll check the sound quality, and then see how this TV compares to other models on the market. We have the 65-inch version here, but expect our results to be valid for the 55 as well. If you want to skip straight to a particular test result, click on the links in the description below. The design of the H9F is good. It has an almost bezel-less design on 3 sides with a nice chamfered edge. It is made of both metal and plastic and feels more premium than the Hisense H8F. It has a decent build quality and is only really cheapened by the flimsy feeling plastic on the back where the electronics are housed. It has a really unique stand as well that seems to be hit or miss based on the feedback we got from some people in the office. It's made of a solid feeling metal, supports the TV well, and only allows for a bit of wobble. As we see from its side profile, the H9F is nice and thin, and for those of you who don't like the stand, it will look great wall mounted and won't protrude much from the wall. To use the TV, you will definitely need to use the remote because the physical controls on the TV itself are dumbed down to one single button, and that button doesn't do much. It can only turn the TV on and off and change the inputs. The TV supports some useful smart features through the remote, which I'll talk about a little later, so using the remote will be integral to using this H9F to its fullest potential. The inputs of the TV are located on the left-hand side. There are 4 full bandwidth HDMI 2.0 ports, a composite port for legacy devices, and all the other usual suspects like an optical audio out and even a headphone jack. As we turn the TV back around, we'll quickly look at the H9F's thermal output taken with our infrared camera. Since the TV utilizes a full array local dimming backlight, the LEDs are evenly distributed across the entire screen. Coupled with the brightness this TV can achieve, which we'll touch on in a minute, it makes the TV run hot. So overall, the design is nice and the near bezel-less frame won't distract you away from the picture. Speaking of which, let's move on to the picture quality. We'll be comparing the H9F to other TVs currently available, but competing models can change as new TVs are released throughout the year. To stay up to date with the comparisons as we buy and test new models, check out the review page on our website linked in the description below. The contrast ratio is one of the most important aspects of picture quality. It is the ratio between the measured bright and dark areas of a scene. This means a TV with a good contrast ratio has detail in bright and dark parts of the scene, punchy colors, and good black levels. The H9F is a VA-type LED TV with a full array local dimming backlight, meaning the backlight can turn off certain sections and boost others to improve the contrast and black levels. The H9F has an excellent native contrast ratio when local dimming is disabled around 6,000 to 1, and can be further improved with the local dimming setting to just under 9,000 to 1. This is great because it means black levels are very black and the TV can still achieve high brightness levels. Now, the behavior of local dimming changes depending on the TV for 2 main reasons. One is the panel itself, where the number of different dimmable zones physically limit what the TV can do when applying the second component, the local dimming algorithm. The way these 2 come together is extremely important and can often yield results that are greater or worse than the sum of their parts. In other words, we don't evaluate the TV based on the specifications of how many zones it has, but rather how it applies the local dimming setting and what it looks like. The H9F's local dimming is good, but not great. It looks great for most static images as it controls the blooming well and has nice black levels, but it's very slow to transition between zones, which can be distracting. Another thing we noticed, which was odd, was the way it handled star-filled scenes. Stars can often be demanding for full array backlights because they try to get very small bright objects to show on a very dark black scene. Some TVs ignore the stars and crush them out in favor of better black levels, and some do the opposite. In this case, as you might be able to tell by the picture shown here, the H9F creates little blooming spots around every single star. This creates a very distracting, non-uniform picture. It might not be very visible to you in the photo, but it is noticeable in person. It seems like the algorithm isn't as refined as some other TVs and isn't able to properly handle all scenes you can throw at it. Besides the Star Wars scene though, it looked good and the H9F had a better local dimming than the Hisense H8F and the TCL6 series, which is also known as the R617. Another category local dimming helps with is brightness. The SDR brightness of the H9F is great. The TV can get plenty bright to offset glare and can achieve over 1,000 nits with some regular content. The brightness does vary a bit depending on the scene because of the local dimming, but overall it's not bad and shouldn't be distracting. The Hisense H9F supports Dolby Vision, HLG, and HDR10 HDR formats, and has great HDR peak brightness. HDR peak brightness is important for different reasons than SDR brightness. The higher dynamic range allows for more detail in the bright and dark area of the screen, and HDR brightness is important for delivering impactful and detailed bright highlights. The H9F can achieve a maximum HDR brightness of over 1200 nits, which is great. It gets much brighter than the Vizio M-Series Quantum 2019 and the Hisense H8F, but the TCL R617 still gets a little brighter in real scenes. Regardless, the H9F will deliver great HDR performance and specular highlight detail. Next, we'll look at the viewing angles. Wide viewing angles are important if you don't watch the TV head-on and you still want the image to remain accurate at an angle. Unfortunately, the Hisense H9F has bad viewing angles, which is fairly normal for a VA-type panel TV. It is slightly better than the Hisense H8F, which has very bad viewing angles. The colors wash out and black shift quickly off axis. If viewing angles are very important to you, OLEDs like the LG B9 and the IPS-type panel LEDs like the LG SM9000 would be better choices for you. Now, let's look at the gray uniformity. Our gray uniformity test checks for any uniformity issues with the panel where different pixels are all supposed to display the exact same color, but may not. It is done by taking a picture of a 50% gray pattern on every TV. Cloudy spots and other issues present on this slide are known as the dirty screen effect, which can be problematic when playing games or watching sports, which often tend to display uniform colors across the screen. The Hisense H9F has decent uniformity, but it presents distracting dirty screen effect and vignetting. This so far has not been great news for sports fans since the viewing angles and DSC are not great. On a more positive note, the H9F handles reflections well. This is important if the TV is placed in a well-lit room, and, coupled with the great peak brightness, the TV should be able to properly counteract glare for most rooms. Its reflection handling is similar to the H8F and Vizio M-Series Quantum 2019, but is a bit better because of the brightness of the display. It also handles reflections better than the TCL R617. Next, we'll evaluate the color gamut and color volume. A wide color gamut is important for producing vivid colors in HDR content. The H9F can produce a wide color gamut, which is great. It is slightly better than the TCL R617 and the Hisense H8F, and competes with the big boys from Sony, Samsung, and LG, but the Vizio M-Series Quantum 2019 still has one of the best color gamuts and color volumes we've ever measured. The color volume is also good, on par with the H8F and R617. Now, this next part is a little complicated, but stay with me. We also measure the EOTF, or electro-optical transfer function, of each HDR TV. This is when the TV receives a stimulus or signal to display a certain brightness, and this graph shows if it can properly follow the reference standard. The yellow line here is the reference PQ curve. The reference line is unachievable by any TV at the moment though, so every TV has a way to tone map the input signal to the display's capabilities, and that is the gray line that you see here. The H9F doesn't follow it very accurately. It darkens dark scenes a little too much and over-brightens the majority of other scenes. If you care about watching a movie as accurately as the director intended, the TCL R617 is probably a better bet for you as it handles the EOTF very well. Time to move on to the motion handling of the H9F, and first up is the response time. The response time of a display is the amount of time it takes for a pixel to change from one color to another. The H9F performs amazingly. This results in very little blur trail behind fast-moving objects. The H9F outperforms the H8F as well, but does present some duplications in motion because of the backlight that never stops flickering. Luckily, the flicker is at 960 Hz and shouldn't bother most people. If you care about an even clearer image when gaming, then black frame insertion can be used to clear up the persistence blur. The Hisense H9F can flicker at 120 Hz, which is good, but not great, as there still can be duplications in the motion. It's a little strange because the H8F is able to flicker at 60 Hz. Nonetheless, motion will be improved, and the H9F has a brightness compensation when enabling BFI, so the screen won't be dimmed like it usually does on most other TVs when BFI is enabled. Let's move on and see how the TV performs for gamers. Input lag is a vital component to gaming, and a slow input lag can be distracting and frustrating. A low input lag is important to reduce the delay between an action in-game and when you see it on the screen. I'm happy to report the Hisense H9F has an excellent input lag at around 16 milliseconds in game mode at 60 Hz at nearly all resolutions. This is better than the competing Vizio M-Series Quantum 2019 and TCL R617, and ever so slightly worse than the H8F. The 2 millisecond difference between the two will be really hard to notice though. The input lag of the H9F is high out of game mode at over 100 milliseconds, so it's not recommended. The H9F is able to accept 120 Hz signals, but it skips every other frame, meaning it's not really displaying 120 Hz. We confirm that the display is in fact a 120 Hz panel because the motion interpolation feature can interpolate up to 120 frames per second. Time to go over the smart features. The Hisense H9F has great smart features thanks to the Android TV 8.0. It is the most up-to-date version of Android TV and is well organized and easy to use. Android TV is one of the most open systems and has a plethora of apps to choose from, so there is no doubt it'll serve you well. The remote has dedicated app buttons to jump right into the most popular apps. The H9F also features Amazon Alexa and the Google Assistant integrated with the remote, so you can control your TV as well as other smart home devices with just your voice. At the time of review, the Hisense H9F, like the H8F and unlike other Android TV 8.0 televisions, is ad-free. This may change, and if it does, we will update our review. Finally, we'll take a look at the sound of the H9F before a final comparison of the H9F versus competing models. The sound on the H9F is disappointing. The TV only gets to about 87 decibels, which is loud for most people in quieter rooms, but isn't loud enough to overcome loud environments. The low frequency extension is bad, and there's barely any bass. Above bass levels, the sound quality is pretty flat and dialogue is clear, but lacks airiness because of a drop-off in the low and mid-treble ranges. The good thing is the TV doesn't distort much unless it's at max volume. If you want better sound, a dedicated sound system like a soundbar or discrete speakers and an AV receiver is recommended. So overall, the Hisense H9F is a good 4K HDR TV with great picture quality. Compared to the Hisense H8F, the H9F has a much better response time, which is great for gamers. Motion can be interpolated up to 120 Hz on the H9F, which helps smooth motion a lot for you soap opera effect fans. The H9F gets brighter, and small highlights in HDR are more impactful and appear closer to the creator's intent. The local dimming is also better on the H9F, as well as the viewing angles, which are noticeably better, but still not very good. For better viewing angles, an OLED like the LG B9 or an IPS TV like the LG SM9000 would be a better choice. Now, compared to the Vizio M Series Quantum 2019 variants ending in an 8, and in this case it's the M658G1, the H9F is a slightly better TV in some aspects, and we expect the H9F to be much better than the Vizio variants ending with a 7. The Hisense H9F can get much brighter than the Vizio and has a better input lag and response time. The H9F can interpolate motion up to 120 Hz, whereas the Vizio has no such interpolation feature and is stuck at a max of 60 Hz. The Vizio does have a better contrast ratio, local dimming feature, and black uniformity, so it might be a better choice in a dark room if peak brightness and motion isn't your top priority. Finally, we'll look at the H9F versus the TCL 6 series or the R617. The R617 is last year's model and doesn't perform as well as the H9F. The Hisense has a slightly better contrast ratio, a better local dimming feature, better reflection handling, and a better motion handling. The TCL still is a good TV, but the Hisense is a better buy for most people. So that's all for today. Did the Hisense H9F live up to the hype? Are you going to buy it? Let us know in the comments section below. You can check out all of the measurements from this review on our website. And hey, if you like this video, subscribe to our channel for more videos. Also, if you want to access the latest test results first as we buy and test new models, become an insider on our website. Lastly, we are currently hiring in our offices in Montreal for various positions. So if you want to help people find the best product for their needs, have a look at the career page on our website. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.